This is really shocking. Shocking. Bayo Onanuga, the presidential spokesperson. You know, when you hear the presidential spokesperson, what comes to mind is this very, 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 very highly respected government press. You cannot joke with that particular press. As a matter of fact, the position that Bayo Onanuga is holding for the president is the one that Ruben Abati, remember Ruben Abati, who works with Arise TV, the morning show lead anchor, is the same position that Ruben Abati held under Goodluck Jonathan. You know, they're almost always in the forefront of, you know, the attacks. When it comes to the attacks on the president, it is through their office, because it's the office that releases statement of the government. When the president speaks, it actually speaks through them. So they use their personal handle to put out reactions. They use their personal handles to put out comments. They use their personal handles to do practically everything. So because of how sacred their office is, they become really circumspect with what they tweet or what they post on social media. So that's why most of the time there is this divide that comes with you being appointed. As soon as you get appointed as the presidential spokesperson, sometimes these people even go as far as deleting their old tweets, their old messages, just to be clean and be sure that whatever they're putting out is the president speaking directly to the people. They can't just use that platform to do anything. Sometimes also they open a fresh account and then use that one for anything. You know, there's a difference between you being the presidential spokesperson and then you being an individual of your own. Even if you have an opinion, you can't put that personal opinion on the message of the president to the people. Yes, that is how delicate that particular office is. So most of them sometimes go as far as even opening a fresh account, call it something else, not their name. Don't call it the SSA or SA. So they just call it something else and then continue posting stuff. Continue posting stuff from that. And so that's their personal opinion about what they think, how they feel, whether it is even against the president's wishes. As long as people don't know who they are, then it's practically okay. Okay. But on this particular handle, as long as it's identified as a presidential spokesperson, that's your personal handle, you can't use it to, do certain things. But we woke up this morning on a Monday morning, 18th of August, 2025, and we found something quite interesting. And it is Bayo Onanuga, presidential spokesperson, not presidential office worker or presidential special assistant. Like, you know how it is when you're working in an office, there's a boss and then there's an assistant and then there's an assistant, there's assistant, or maybe there's a Twitter troll people, because I know that they usually employ people who are trollers, on Twitter. They can go as far as trolling you, throw your life out of your body. But this morning, Bayo Onanuga tweeted something. He put out the pictures of Peter Obi, Atiku, Amechi. This happens to be, I think this particular picture was taken in one of the meetings held earlier, where there's this coalition of political parties meeting for the first time in championing a cause about how they would go about running the 2027 elections. And then there's an Atiku. He posted their picture with the caption, "How is the market now?" And trust me, a lot of people found it so funny. Some found it really debilitating. Some found it so harsh. They said, look, you are a presidential spokesperson, you shouldn't be doing this. But let me just read some of the tweets or some of the messages that we have come across on this channel. Abdulkadir Atabo says, the most childish presidential spokesman in the history of Nigeria. Nasir Usman Njida says, when a spokesman turned to a content creator. Akinleye Olaolu Hezekiah says, I have never seen a place where a retired person will be saying, I must come back after a retirement ceremony have been done and gratuity paid. Well, this is it's Olega Bayo Onanuga. Adam Musa says, wait for general election. You can see how your Oga will be back to Lagos. Umar Yaya Danilu says, ask Pablo, your answers is in his mouth. Oyekomi Joseph says, market no pure one lule, home and away, afi be man you. Fabregas Baba says, you don't join Reno Mockery for content, Abi. No wonder we have tourist presidents in Nigeria. Mohammed Al-Amin says, so this post is coming from a presidential spokesperson? Well, here we go. Patrick Akinimi said, sir, this table you are shaking, my hand no deal. Anyway, it is allowed in your personal capacity. Hope many will understand that Oga Bayo is free like anyone else to crack jokes and tease the coalitionists. Philip Tachin says, Oga Bayo, now so you they shake these people's table, make you pity them small, please. Nah, 2027 we go show them shake it. Okay, Moji Donlani says, Mr. Bayo, you form my hand. Jagaban has been in that shoe before. Ibrahim Inua says, is out your duty, please, sir, until Tinubu leave the villa 2027 by the grace of God. This other one, so much of them, there's so much, people are just very angry about what he has just posted. Sheriff Adeyemo says the market no look good for the mixed bag, deadbeats and sad-faced presidential wannabes who will never stop running till they enter the grave. Nigeria will triumph over them, inshallah. Aunu Albert Aluko says, just one line. See, as ADC sympathizers are advising and lamenting, they are really in pain. They would have mocked if APC had lost in the by-elections. Tunde Akogun says, Mr. Onanuga, grow up. This is beneath you and your office. It would have been understandable if this was written by APC data boys. Abimboye Michael says, from spokesman to content creator, childish much. Dogoyaro says, go ask your boss, Tinubu. This one says, Nsikan Emanson Jr. says, no wonder they call you domestic servants. House Yusuf says, we give them wuta for Saturday by election. Pam Pam says, OBJ, Peter, how's it going with you? Peter Obi, dad, thank you very much. Honestly, I'm confused. OBJ, you see, I know Bola very well. As a sitting president, he showed me Pepe. That's why I've kept quiet about 2027. Your best shot was 2023, not 2027. Peter Obi. So what do I do now? OBJ, if I may tell you the gospel truth, it's already too late. Bola will do 8 years. This is just another interesting troll coming from that point of view. All right, so just to wrap things up around all of these, remember that there was a by-election across the country, and most of the people around the country wanted to use that to test the waters, to test what will most likely happen in 2027, because anything that happens now, everybody tries to measure it from the lens of the elections in 2027. The elections in Anambra State that is due in November is also going to be a litmus test for 2027. The elections, I think another election is coming up in the Southwest, as Osun State elections coming up in the Southwest. It's all going to be another test for what's going to happen in 2027. These by-elections as well are also elections that the ruling party are using to test their ground, to test their, how popular, they are in different zones. And so because of that, Bayo thinks that given what the results have shown over and across the country, APC swept most of the elections, the by-elections that happened. And so because of that, he's practically trolling them, because ADC had a candidate, Labour Party had a candidate, and so even when these parties had candidates, they lost, with the strength of the APC. Even though many persons have said that money bag played a huge role, most of the APC candidates paid their way through by buying votes, and they know that the PDP or the opposition are going to do the same thing. So what they did was to use the security agencies to lay a siege on the opposition. They identified a few opposition party members who might most likely stash monies to give out. So they pinned them, and then they caught them in some places. That's why you could tell what happened in Ogun State. One of my stories earlier showed where a PDP chairman was caught, 2 INEC staff and several other persons were caught by the police while the elections were actually ongoing in that state. So And then APC was not caught because, but we know that monies changed hand across board, and in some places there were some violence that happened, especially in the north. But by and large, the entire thing came up to be the APC winning the elections outright in terms of the numbers across board. So I think Bayo Onanuga is reacting to that result, trolling them and saying how the market now. But again, I would want to say that more than that really, Bayo Onanuga, there are ways you could go about these things without sounding so ephemeral, so local. There are ways you could go about those things, quite frankly. Many persons did not see it as a way of somewhat in good taste. And looking at his antecedents, Bayo Onanuga, he's someone who rides on win it all syndrome. He loves winning it all. He loves going all out and winning everything, and he loves to troll. In fact, he's a person who said that Igbos should not be allowed to play any role in Lagos politics going forward. So he's the kind of guy who wants to take the victory all, and rub it in the faces of opposition, as the case may be. And of course, opposition have also used him as a punch bag severally in some of their communications. So it's still in the realm of politics, and these things are understandable, and they are okay in the balance of politics. Trolling each other, giving some persons bars, as the case may be, and by and large also making sure that they rub it all up on the faces of the opposition. I don't know what you think, though. Tell me what you think in the comments, and tell me if you think that Bayo Onanuga on his own was too childish in the way and manner he delivered this particular message, or better still, it's okay in the realm of politics. Quite frankly, what do you think? I would love to hear from you, as always. All right. Something again I wanted to say is that something that Daniel Bwala said some time back, I think some few days ago, when he appeared on TV speaking about 2027 elections. He was speaking directly about Peter Obi, and he was saying something along the lines of that there is no particular political party that would give Peter Obi a ticket. So it does mean that Peter Obi should be circumspect and should be careful where he's going to run, his politics, or going to run his presidential campaign on. Because the way it is, it does look like there's a grand plan to plant people in several political parties. Say maybe it's ADC, or maybe it's Labour Party, or maybe it's totally different party. They're trying to make sure that he doesn't even get the ticket. Rather talk of emerging as the presidential candidate, and then because what Bwala said then was that the way things are going, he might not get the ticket of any political party, and also added a rider that. Even the vice presidential candidacy, he might not even get it the way things are going. So there might be some grand plan to make sure that Peter Obi doesn't emerge as a presidential candidate of any party. They want to start the fight from there, so that whatever happens, they hope that it's going to be tests on the scale of the rule of law to be sure whether really he's even eligible to participate in the 2027 elections. All right. That's my thinking. Tell me what you think. I would always love to hear from you. All right. Thank you again. Appreciate. Take care.